for the North American Online Qualifier Cup number 3, where 8 teams be vying for 3 spots in the Americas Regionals. I'm Jackson Bajira Blyton, joining the desk today as your arena analyst and host. This is my first time here, super excited, very, very proud. I'm joined by Josh Lore Allen and Jared Vihel Colston for our commentators. And this isn't their first time at the desk, but I know these guys are just as pumped as I am to get these games going for you guys.
Yeah, totally. Every single one of these matches that we've got scheduled, even in the round of 8 today, is looking to be absolutely amazing. We have just the most ridiculously awesome teams that have worked their way through the qualifiers to get to this point today, to be able to play for one of those 3 spots at regionals later this year. So the level of the games, the level of play I think we're going to see today is, this is going to be nuts. This is going to be good.
It really is, and I mean, I seem to be repeating myself every tournament so far, that these keep getting better and better, and of course now we're down to the wire for a lot of these teams. This is their last chance of the year to qualify for regionals, and then possibly move on to BlizzCon from that. So there's a lot of crowd favorites that may have not made it in so far, like Method, for example. They know that this is their moment to prove themselves, that they're coming back from last year, you know, the success they had at tournaments in the past, and they need the fans behind them to make it to regionals.
Got to rise up.
Yep.
Got to rise up.
Like Vihel was mentioning, these guys are, you know, the best teams in North America. These guys are also teams that have a lot of arena experience over the years, as well as countless ladder matches to prepare themselves for this very moment right here. So hopefully any sort of pre-tournament jitters that they've had, any sort of, you know, competition hesitancy should be out the window, and these guys are ready to rock to put it all out on the line today. So should we take a quick look at the rules, an explanation of how these guys set up their comps and maps choices and whatnot?
Yeah, definitely. So the way that this works is that the first map that we play on for every single match is going to be in a grand arena. It's a pretty standard World of Warcraft tournament format. It's just a very, very well-balanced map. Doesn't have any super huge favors or leanings towards any particular comp. Really good map to start off. Once we've played the first match, before we play the first match, each team will declare their composition to the admins, but not to each other. So it's a blind pick on the first one that we play. After that first match, the losing team will have the opportunity to pick the map. They will say, okay, we lost on the Grand Arena, so now we want to try Blade's Edge or something, as an example. Then the winning team will be able to say, okay, since we're going to Blade's Edge, we're going to play this composition. Then the losing team gets the opportunity once again to say, well, now we know what composition they're playing, we'll pick our composition. So it goes loser picks map, winner picks comp, loser picks composition after every match.
So it seems like a lot of things can change in between matches, obviously the comp, and you know, you can definitely envision the winning team deciding to change their comp up depending on which map the losing team chooses. So that being said, should we take a look at the comps themselves? Should we look at the brackets?
Sure, and we've seen a lot of these teams have success in the past, such as the GCD tournaments that have been running, and the teams that we have playing today, of course, are going to be Luminosity versus GOML is going to be our first match of the day, and this is going to be a big grudge match, of course, you know, which GOML is going to feature the only Ret Paladin of this tournament too. So that's exciting. I know we have a lot of fans of Ret Paladins out there in the PvP community, so it's awesome to see Evangeline jump on that Ret in matches.
Yep, the next match we'll play will be Last Minute versus Dream Team, and that could be, we could see a little bit of a grudge match happening there as well, because a lot of the members of Last Minute were actually playing on Dream Team before, so that's going to be an exciting one to look at. Following that, we'll have Carlos's Banditos versus Smell of GG, and then Method versus World of Warcats. And I feel like it maybe is a little bit of repetitive to say it could be a grudge match, could be a grudge match, could be a grudge match. But a lot of these players have seen each other so many different times. They've played with each other, they've played against each other, they've been beaten by each other, they've beaten each other. These guys, they know each other really, really well, which means we're going to see some very, very serious high-end competition out of every single one of these matches.
These teams have fought each other in previous qualifier cups, they've fought each other on ladder countless times, and they've also fought each other in the GCD TV arena tournaments that we've had on a pretty weekly basis. So definitely got to give a shout out to GCD TV for not only hosting, you know, weekly tournaments that help, you know, get the WoW community all riled up, but also for helping so much with these qualifier cups with all the admin and whatnot. So shout outs to you guys. Thank you very much. So another sort of thing we might want to shout out is the fact that a little bit later today, after we get done with our first round of 8, we are going to be having a talk with none other than the lead PvP designer for World of Warcraft, Brian Halinka. So once the first round of matches are all done with, be sure to stick around, because we'll be asking this guy a little bit of information about not only Warlords of Draenor, but obviously WoW Legion as well.
Yeah, definitely. Also worth giving a shout out to all the various social media channels. If you want to use like Twitter, for example, you can use the hashtag WowEsports to sort of join in the conversation there and tell people what predictions you want to make or which team you're rooting for and so on. You can also follow Warcraft on Twitter at Warcraft, also on Facebook at Warcraft. You can follow all three of us on Twitter. I'm CM_Lord, Jared is IMVHell, and everybody knows Bajira is at BajiraWow. Yeah, social media, it's a thing. You should use it.
And one of the things to note about this tournament that's different than the rest, this year we did allow teams to have that fourth player. One of the things that we didn't mention during the comp swap is that they can actually bring in that fourth player. So it adds a lot of depth to these teams. And we are running a single elimination tournament. So if a teams get knocked out in the round of 8, they're done. However, if they do make it to the round of 4, we are going to be, because we're picking 3 teams, we need to determine who that third place is, and we'll be playing the 3rd and 4th place match.
Definitely. So we will be getting into these games very soon here. I'm not sure quite. Okay, we will be ready to get into these matches here very, very shortly.
Awesome. Right now we're going to run a little hype video for you guys, get you pumped up for these arena matches, and we'll see you guys very, very soon.
The World of Warcraft World Championship.
He had 1 HP. He's still alive as the Nature's Guardian procs. It came off cooldown. He's held up though. He goes down, and skill cap are going to take him. Are they? Channel will still low. Channel will make him down as well, but it's too late. It's way too late. The block comes down, but will it be enough? I don't think so. He's going to get sheeped on his trinket. Hardwell is up. I don't think it's going to be enough. Blaze so low. Ironbar coming out. This could be it. I think it will be.
All right, everybody, thanks so much for joining us here. Once again, we have Bajira over at the analyst station getting ready to let us know all about what's going to happen in this first match between Luminosity and GOML that we are about to see. So go ahead and take it away, Bajira.
Welcome, guys, to the analyst room. I have assumed my analyst stance, and I'm ready to break down these 3-3 arena matches for you guys. So as you heard, we're going to be looking at Team Luminosity versus Get On My Level. So we've received word that on the down low that Luminosity is going to be playing their LSD3 composition into Get On My Level's Ret Hunter Shaman. So this is going to be a composition that is definitely the Ret Hunter Shaman, that is definitely not as popular in the current meta. Obviously, this is the only Ret Paladin in the tournament. Go Evangeline for holding it down for the Ret Paladins out there. But they face a very, very stern competition in this LSD3. So the thing about LSD3 is they're going to be applying tons of AoE pressure while purging all kinds of offensive, offensive buffs off of the enemy team. So any sort of Hands of Protection, Hunter Freedoms, Hunter Sacks, Retribution, Hand of Sacrifice, all those could be gone in an instant under the purging of the Enhancement Shaman. So what we guys want to look out for, like I said, from the Get On My Levels team, is these guys are capable of running this comp extremely well. You don't get to this level of a tournament with, not really playing Ret Hunter Druid very well. So what you guys ought to check out for these guys is this is a comp that's not popular, but they know how to play it well. And the best way to show that is go ahead and get to the game. Let's do this, guys.
All right, thanks so much, Bajira. We are just about to get into this match here. as the gates will be opening here very, very shortly. We can see, as you were saying, we do have this LSD3 composition, which is that Warlock, Enhancement Shaman, and this Resto Druid as well. It's going to be very interesting to see how they decide to play this out here versus GOML.
Yeah, and I do like this setup from Luminosity. I think that that this is the safe pick for them, since it is the blind pick in this matchup, and I think this is a comp that they're really strong with, and it can basically counter anything that GOML cannot throw at them. So gates are about to open as we're going to watch GOML come out from the start. The plays are really going to depend on how well this Ret Paladin can stay offensive. Immediate hand of freedom from the start, because he really wants to stay offensive onto this team.
Yeah, Danny Carey already having to use that bark skin and getting caught in a stun over here. Fortunately, he was still able to get that bark skin out to limit a lot of that damage. And so far, Luminosity is looking like they're actually doing pretty well through this initial burst from Evangeline, who does have his wings active and that execution sentence coming down as well. But Dillypoo having to get a little bit out of line of sight over here and having to try and play a little bit defensively, because Shamguards is just all up in his grill right now, trying to beat the crap out of this guy. And Flubba actually maybe in a little bit of trouble as well, having to dip back over here out of line of sight and drop that healing tide totem.
As you can see, both Dilly and Flubba playing very defensive. That is going to leave Evangeline kind of by himself out in the middle of nowhere. As you see the swap coming out, that haunt does land onto Evangeline with Shamguards on top of him too. So that was a great swap, that Luminosity. They really saw their healer out of position so that they could capitalize on switching to that Ret.
Yep. Now trying to put a little bit of pressure and turn it back around onto Maldiva here, but he's doing a great job just kiting around that pillar. Does now get himself back out in the open over here, and could be actually in some trouble. The crows are coming out. He's taking a decent amount of burst damage here, but with no wings from Evangeline for another 50 seconds, that pressure is not going to be nearly as much as GOML would really like to be able to score a kill. And now turning it back around once again onto Dillypoo. That execution sentence coming down onto him to give him a little bit of extra healing there from Evangeline, who is caught into a whole bunch of cyclones, and Dillypoo is going to have to use his first deterrence of the game.
All right, now you can see Shamguards is really going to push in. He feels that he's safe with all this defense behind him with Danny Carey, who does get trapped right there. Flubba is going to have to use Ascendance right there to pick his team up, as he does get a lot of heals out, and he's fully topped off, which is great. But look at how deep Evangeline is playing. This is interesting. Maybe he's not afraid of this LS3 damage coming out on him, but look at that. Now they're going to bring him down to half right there, since he is standing on top of Maldiva and Danny Carey.
Yeah, and he actually used his Blessing of Protection to break a stun from the Druid there, so he will have that Forbearance active for a little while and will not be able to bubble, which could put him in some trouble here. The wings are coming out. They're trying to put some damage into Maldiva, but look how low everyone on GOML is right now. Dillypoo is super low. He could go down right there through deterrence. Just too much damage. No, excuse me, that was a feign. He even tricked me with that. Down to 8% health, but he does manage to survive through that. I am shocked that he's still alive. Evangeline caught out here in the open, though. Could be in lots of trouble. The Forbearance has fallen off. He may have to bubble here, and there it is.
There it is. Yeah, there's a bubble. And look at Danny Carey, feeling that he can play extremely offensive, using that Heart of the Wild to toss out some damage and forcing that bubble out of Evangeline with that too. And look at Flubba barely holding on, keeping his Ret up, who had to finally come back and play defensive in this match. That's the first time that Evangeline has been back on the pillar with his Shaman. Yeah,
but now Flubba caught into a full Cyclone. He does have his Trinket available. He's going to sit through it. Dillypoo has no defensives available, so Flubba could be in some trouble here. He trying to get him off. The Spirit Link goes down, but it's not doing anything because Evangeline was just not able to get in there, and Flubba is going to fall, and that's going to be our first match over to Luminosity.
Yeah, and the great thing right there was I loved that they started spreading the pressure. Once they knew that they got one target low, they knew the Spirit Link was going to come out. So why not spread the damage out from both this Warlock and with Shamguards just hitting everyone nearby him to get all 3 health bars low? Dilly did a great job of disengaging back into the Spirit Link. But the problem was the health of all 3 members was so low at that point that the Spirit Link really didn't do anything other than its damage reduction.
Yeah, definitely. So we are going to head back over to Bajira at the Analyst Station to give us his expert opinion on how that match played out.
Hey guys, that was a really tough match for that Ret Hunter Resto Shaman. As we expected, the AoE cleave pressure of that Warlock and Enhancement Shaman really took a toll on their health bars. And like Vihale mentioned, those Spirit Link totems, even though it's a big defensive cooldown for the Resto Shaman, it really didn't do that much when they're all so low health. One of the things to watch out for in this next game is to see if Get On My Level lets Vanguards, or Shamguards rather, sit on the enemy team's Resto Shaman and apply that split pressure. Meanwhile, the Warlock just absolutely shreds the health bars of Get On My Level. one of the things to keep in mind is that when everybody stacks up against when Get On My Level does all stack up, that flame shock is going to get spread to everyone on the team, which is only going to compound the issues of the AoE pressure. So not only is there's going to be a full row of Warlock dots on every member of Get On My Level's team, there's also going to be flame shocks going out, and any sort of passive healing or buffs that are going to go out, like I mentioned earlier, are going to be instantly dispelled by Shamguards. Shamguards is one of those players known for his enhancement shaman play, mainly because he does not let a buff sit on his opponents. Even though he's spending so many global cooldowns using that purge ability, he's still pumping out tons of damage. And although enhancement shamans don't have the most massive chunk damage, those purges taking off a Riptide for a shaman ends up being a huge deal. So you're going to see Flubba once again try to find a way to have his team help him out a little bit in those situations where Vanguard is on across the map, splitting DPS and shredding the health bars as the Warlock goes to work as well. Now, even though the Ret Hunter Shaman did end up going down that game, they did make some really nifty plays. Keep an eye on Evangeline, watching for his teammates' health bars, casting those heals. There was a moment there where Dilly had to feign death into deterrence. He was so low, but I imagine it was a clutch heal from Evangeline, just kept him out of harm's way, or at least for the moment. Either way, guys, back to the caster desk. Cannot wait to see how this next match turns out.
Thanks so much for that excellent insight, Vajira. We are just now getting the second match underway. It should be up here for you guys very, very shortly. Team GOML has actually chosen Ruins of Lordaeron as their map choice for this next round.
Yeah, I think it's a smart choice. This is the Hunter isn't going to have a lot of LOS problems, and even if he does, with Danny choosing to maybe sit by one of the carts, he'll always be in disengage distance to be able to disengage and land a trap without trap launcher. That instant CC coming out from him. So we'll have to see if GOML can come back from this. The beginning of the game, I thought, went really well. I liked that Evangeline really knew that he wasn't going to be the target of choice, and he stayed extremely offensive, almost on top of Maldiva and Danny Carey.
Yeah, definitely, but at the same time, Luminosity was able to abuse that a little bit in the last match and just sort of keep that spread pressure like Bajir was talking about on him constantly. So we'll have to see if they can make any adjustments in this next match. It looks like Evangeline, once again, with that Hand of Freedom, just going right in here, whole hog, wants to get down into this starting area here and immediately gets that stun out onto Danny Carey, which is going to force out that bark skin. The wings come out as well, but look at Dillypoo. He's just taking so much damage and has to get out of there right away.
Yeah, and Dilly getting so low is going to force Danny Carey to play kind of offensively right now, as Maldiva does get stunned too. I like that they're switching it back onto Maldiva right away, but Flubba down to half right now too, as he's going to sit with those dots on him, but switches the Earth Shield onto himself, knowing that he might be a target in a second, as the Spirit Walker's Grace comes out with the Ascendance too. That's a lot of cooldowns blown, but look at that damage they're doing onto Maldiva. Full trap onto Danny, which is instantly trinketed.
Yeah, GOML actually doing pretty well here. They've managed to pull out every single cooldown from Danny Carey. They just need to be able to survive against this constant spread pressure long enough to be able to turn it back around here. Evangeline down at 20% health, gets a big heal, back up to 70%. He's going to be totally fine for now. The stun does come out, which he trinkets right away. They want to keep this pressure going as much as possible, that the Cyclone's going to come down, and he has no trinket for that, and that's going to shut down this push from GOML. And Dillypoo actually may be in a lot of trouble here. Down to 10% out, 1% health with that deterrence active. Just not enough rot pressure on him to quite finish it off there, but the deterrence has now fallen. Can Flubba keep his team alive? Evangeline has to bubble at 15% health. This is not looking good for GOML right now.
No, it's not at all, because that was Dilly's second deterrence, so he's definitely a good target, as they do get a trap onto Shamguards, though, which is good, as the second Dark Soul is going to fade from Maldiva, so maybe they can balance out after this. We see the crows come out. Looks like it is going to be onto Maldiva right there, taking a bunch of damage, as he does get back with that Iron Bark on it, too. So great job of anticipating that damage coming out.
Yeah, they are still putting quite a bit of damage into Maldiva, and that Ironbark's actually about to fall off. Is Danny Carey, do they have any sort of CC for Danny Carey to slow it down? It does not look like they're going to be able to. Now Luminosity once again fully topped off, turning it back around onto GOML. That is a full spread of dots on all three of them. The Spirit Link comes down, but it only does so much when all of your team is so low, and it's just not looking good. Flubba down to 9% health. The Shadow Fury comes out. Second Spirit Link, but there's just nothing for that to heal from, and down goes GOML once again. That's 2-0 for Team Luminosity.
Wow, and that was a fast match. You know, the damage from the enhancement shaman, just plus the spread pressure from Maldiva. I think they played it really well, you know, kind of baiting the enemy team to come into the starting zone. A great positioning by Danny Carey. The only thing we saw forced out of Danny Carey was that bark skin from the start, and unfortunately GOML just didn't have any follow-up to force out more cooldowns from Danny.
Yeah, definitely. And so that does mean that Luminosity will be advancing on to the semifinals. The first matches in the round of 8 are all best of 3. So that means that Luminosity will be advancing on. GOML, unfortunately, has been eliminated from the qualifier tournament at this point. Better luck next time, perhaps. But yeah, Luminosity moving on to the semifinals. They're going to be pretty happy about that win, I think.
Oh, they definitely are. And that was a commanding victory, too. Like, there was maybe a couple moments when Maldiva was getting low or Shamguards was getting low in the first match. But other than that, both two just textbook plays from this LSD3. Of course, Enhanced Shaman, Warlock, and Druid. So shout outs to Luminosity for the win.
Yeah, definitely. So let's head back over to Bajira at the analyst station to give us his breakdown on how all of that went down.
That last game, oh, so brutal, man. Get on my level on that shorter map with their map pick, decided to get really aggressive in the room, which almost turned out pretty well for them. Maldiva did drop pretty low, and they did force a few cooldowns out of Danny Carey. The unfortunate truth for them is that despite all that burst, you know, they're stacking up their damage, they're doing work to your health bars, and it's gonna be a very scary situation. And once that Ret Hunter BM, or the Ret Paladin BM Hunter damage has been extinguished, you know, you're still at the mercy of those Maldiva dots and Shamguard's purges. So that's a rough game for them. But it looks like we're gonna be getting into our next game fairly soon, and that's gonna be Dream Team versus Last Minute.